Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wal aqibatu lil muttaqeen. Was salatu was salamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Wa ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Qala Allahu tabarak wa ta'ala fil Qur'an al-Majid wal Furqan al-Hamid. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. ولا تحسبن الله غافلا عما يعملون الظالمون إنما يؤخرهم ليوم تشخص فيه الأبصار صدق الله العظيم. أما بعد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. Inshallah, today we'll talk about our leaders' role towards Palestinian brothers, and especially we'll talk about our Muslim MPs who are in UK, their role towards Palestinian brothers, what they are doing. Why they come to Imams and they call them, let's go for Sanam restaurant, we'll pay for you, we'll pay for all of you, and just come and just eat meal or something. That's like basically trying to get some votes. Why? Because they know Imam is standing on the mic and they're going to tell everyone, this is the guy you need to vote for. Right? So when they come, we all Imams, we don't go. Reason why? When the LGBTQ came up, none of our Muslim MPs stood up in assembly and they never said anything. One Sikh MP, he stood up and he's the one who said it. Against, he gave that rule. And none of our Muslim MPs, they stood up and said anything. Maybe if there was one or two there, let me know if anyone stood up, but as far as I know, none of them did. But when it came to Palestine, some of them they have resigned, which is very good, mashallah. Most of them they never said a word. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from these kind of wrongdoers, because they are wrongdoers. Inshallah, we'll talk about that as well. The ayat I read, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aware about the wrongdoers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ اللَّهَ غَافِلًا. And don't ever let that thought come into mind. وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ. Lam at the start, noon mushaddada at the end. Highest form of high probability. High probability that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, highest form of ta'qeed. La tahsabanna. Don't even let this thought cross your mind that Allah has no knowledge about what? Amma ya'maluna zalimun. What oppressors are doing. Don't think Allah doesn't know. Allah knows everything. But who are wrongdoers? We need to understand who are wrongdoers. There are two kinds of wrongdoers. One wrongdoers are who are oppressing people. And the second wrongdoers are that whose job is to talk and tell other authorities that what they are doing is wrong, or let other Muslims know, or at least raise their voice, and they are not raising their voice, they are wrongdoers as well. I'll give you an example. What's the job of police? Their job is to finish the crime, and they see someone is stealing or someone is breaking any law and is standing there watching. Is he oppressor or is he not oppressor? He is a wrongdoer. Why? Because your job is to stop the crime. And he's standing there and watching and not doing anything. He is oppressor. One oppressor is the one who is doing the wrong thing. The second one is your job is to stop that and he's not doing anything. One oppressors are what's happening in Palestine, those poor Muslims. And in this country, we selected our MPs. The reason why, so that they raise their voice, because they are our khadim. We can, by law, we can question them and send them an email. How come you're not doing? Because I selected you. You are my voice in assembly. We all can't go in assembly, but you are our voice. How come you're not raising our voice? They are wrongdoers as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't think what these Muslim MPs are doing. Don't think I don't know. So they come under the category of az-zalimun. What is the meaning of zalim? If you go in dictionary in Arabic, zalim means the one who misplaced things. Right now, this is the time for our MPs to raise voice, but they are our voice. They are not raising voice, they are misplacing. They are the one who are zalimun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that I'm extending that leash. It's okay. When you want to, when Auna want to punish his dog, when Auna wants to punish his dog, let's say dog is not listening. Sit, stand, move, do this, do that, and it's not listening. And he wants to punish dog. What it does? Extends the leash. Now dog is running. Dog is thinking what? There is no leash. Let me just run. What happens as soon as he grabs the leash? It chokes. It chokes so bad and yanks the leash. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already done that. He has already done that in history. What happened to Abraha? When Abraha came with his elephant to destroy Khana Kaaba Sharif, didn't Allah know that he's sitting in his country and making plan to destroy Khana Kaaba? Allah knew it all along when he was making plan, when he was preparing his elephants and everything what he was doing. Allah could have stopped him there. Allah never stopped him there. Allah said, just go along with your plan. Keep going, keep going. I will get you when you come right next to Khana Kaaba Sharif. So he came with his elephant. Mahmud was right at the front. It was not just a normal elephant, it was a very mighty elephant. One of the king gave him. He said, why they got the elephant? Because they wanted to destroy Khana Kaaba Sharif. As soon they came right next to the Khana Kaaba Sharif, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed them there. Allah said, just go along with your plan, that's fine. What happened in the Battle of Ahzab, Battle of Khandaq, when the Rasulullah dug the trench? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let all those tribes, that's why it's called Battle of Ahzab. Ahzab means every hizb got together. Hizb means tribe. All the tribes of non-Muslims, they got together to kill Muslims. So that's why it calls Battle of Ahzab. All those Ahzab came and they were so determined that definitely we have won this battle. They have singers with them, they have dancers with them, they had music with them, everything. And then when they came and they sat outside the trench, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let them come all the way from different tribes right next to Medina Sharif. Then after a few days, few weeks, few months, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed them with wind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent wind and the animals started flying, the camps started flying, the people started flying, and they ran away. They understood there is something coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already showed us Muslims are turned their back towards Muslims. These are the enemies of Islam I'm talking about, and they are our MPs. They are zalimun, they are oppressors. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when they will come on the day of judgment, then what they will be saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَيَقُولُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. When these zalim, when these oppressors, when they come on the day of judgment, what they will say? رَبَّنَا أَخِّرْنَا إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ قَرِيبٍ. Same word they will use, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used before. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِنَّمَا يُوَخِّرُهُمْ. I have extended their time. I gave them time in this dunya. Go do whatever you want to do. And then they will use the same word, akhir. So akhara yuakhiru ta'khiran for muakhirun. Akhir is a amr sigha. They will say, akhir. Ya Allah, give us some more time. Some more time. Ajalin qareeb, just a little few moments, so that we can go back in dunya, najib da'abataka wa nattabi' ar-rasul. That we will then say, look back on your da'wat. What is da'wat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Whenever something happened to Muslims, we will raise our voice. And we will listen to your Rasul as well. What are the teachings of Rasul? That whenever and wherever Muslims get oppressed, your job is go and help them. Look, the answer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Amazing answer, especially for MPs. Especially for Muslim MPs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to them, أَوَلَمْ تَكُونْ وَقْسَمْتُمْ مِنْ قَبْلِ. Didn't you take oath before in dunya? Front of all those voters? When you used to go to masajid, aqsamtum, didn't you take qasam? Awalam takunu aqsamtum? Have not you made a treaty with Muslims when you used to go to masajid? When you used to go to community centers? When you go to house to house? Anything happens to Muslims or the community, we will raise your voice will raise, your voice will become your voice. Didn't you take qasam? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, there is no point now. There is no point now because I already given you time. I gave you seat, I gave you martaba, you could have got Jannat today. But because of your zulm, because of you taking side of zalimeen, that's the reason today you will be thrown in hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from these kind of MPs. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from these kind of coward leaders who cannot even raise their voice. That's the reason we say, don't just give your children dunyavi talim, give them Islamic talim as well. They can become MP. We want those MPs who take Muslim side, who have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who don't have fear of people, who don't have fear of this dunya. Then what will happen to my job? I worked so hard for this job last 10 years, 20 years. That's what we see. The effort we have made for last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Now I became MP and now just one word if I say I'm going to lose my job. What about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Who are you going to see in grave? Are these people going to come in your grave to save you? Who's going to come in grave? Third question in grave is going to be Ma kunta taqullu fi haqqi hadha rajul. What you used to say about this man in dunya. What you used to say about this man, basically, were you obeying his teachings? That man would be Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What face would you show to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Because upon the recognition of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you will go in Jannah. Everything, what happens after once your eyes are closed, as soon you die, everything depends how you live this life. If you live this life according to the teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah will give you ability to recognize Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you live this life against the teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah will take the ability away from you to recognize Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Save your akhirah. Utmost our goal of Muslim is to gain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to gain the pleasure of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to get rid of the darknesses from our grave. What will happen once you die? Who will come to save you? Who will come to save you on the day of judgment? Tell me, when you gonna stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask you a question. Tell me, this is Ummah is here. Palestinians will be there too. Those who all are martyred, Allah will show them your faces, because they are their leaders as well. And they will be making claim against them, Ya Allah, they are our leaders. They did not do anything for us. What answer would you give to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because this dunya is, when a person is gonna die, and he will be asked in his grave that how long did you live in dunya? In his grave and in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. How long did you live in dunya? Some will say about 1 day. Some will say about half a day. And some will say few moments. Few moments. That's all we have come here for. If I ask you about your previous life, either you are 30, 40, 50, 80, tell me something about your previous life. You know, within half an hour you will finish your life. Oh, I was born, this is where I went, these things I did when I was 10 years old, I went to school, college. Within half an hour your life finished. So you only came in this dunya for few moments. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you that time to make your akhirah, not this dunya. Like our scholars, they give us example. When you go on holidays, you don't buy car there, you don't buy house there, you don't stop buying things there. No, you rent things. You buy a car, you buy a house. People say, are you mad? You lost your mind. Within 1 week you're going back. Why are you buying things? Just rent these things, and after 1 week you can give it back. Same goes in this dunya. We have just came here for ajal, just a few moments. थोड़े लम्हों के लिए आए हैं. फिर यहाँ से हमने वापस जाना है, आगे जाना है. आगे फिर आलम अरवाह होगा. Then after that we're going to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What Islam says about voting these kind of people, these kind of cowards. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about them. Now this is for everyone. Anyone who comes, you know, in any mosque they come, and you know he never spoken against, you know, this zulm. He never spoke in the favor of Palestinians. Do not let them enter in your mosque. If they do come, don't give them mic as well. Don't let them stand on a mic. They don't deserve standing on mic or telling anyone. Or even though they're telling you hadith, don't let them ever speak about hadith, about the Qur'an. They don't deserve that. Tell them, go home, preach your family, do your own tarbiyah, then come to us and then you give us tarbiyah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about voting these people, وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. Do not incline towards zalimeen. These zalimeen, the one I just spoke about, do not incline towards them. Don't look up to them and don't support them. What is rukan? Tarkanu. Rukan means a pillar, a very strong pillar. This is rukan, which is holding structure pillar, not normal pillar. Structure pillar of the building. You know, when you buy a building, there are pillars, there are walls there, right? The furniture, everything is there. You can move everything, but you cannot move structure pillars. To move that structure pillar, you have to have another pillar there. Otherwise, the whole building is going to collapse. That's why we say there are 5 pillars of Islam. Shahada, Salah, Zakat, Ramzan, and then what's the last one? Hajj is the last one. There are 5 pillars. You cannot move them from the places. They are there. They are pillars, structure pillars of Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do not make them a pillar in your community. Pillar is the supporting pillar of community. Do not make them strong in your community. Do not vote them. Do not support them. Do not look up to them, and do not let them stand on your stage. Do not even give them stage. Don't even give them mic as well. Don't let them speak in community. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you did that, فَتَمَسَّكُمُ النَّارِ, then you will be thrown in hellfire. Burn in hellfire. وَمَا لَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ مِنْ أَوْلِيَاءٍ. And then you will have no helper. You will have no helper other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. It will be only me. No one's going to come to help you. ثُمَّ لَا تُنْصَرُونَ. And you shall never be helped. There are not going to be no helpers. And then just to make sure, Allah says, ثُمَّ لَا تُنْصَرُونَ, then you will never be helped. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that? Do not help them, because they are zalim. And when you support zalim, what you become? وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَعَلَى الْعُدْوَانِ. And do not cooperate upon sin. Now ithm means sin and udwan means sins as well. But what is the difference between both sins? Ithm only stays up to your zat. It only affects you. Ithm, that ism. You're doing the kind of sin which only affects you. Udwan is the kind of ithm that when you commit, it affects the whole community. So they are not just affecting themselves, they are affecting the whole community. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us hukum in Quran. La ta'awanu. It's a nahi, amar nahi. That Allah is strongly condemning those people who are voting these kind of oppressors and wrongdoers. La ta'awanu. Otherwise, what's going to happen? Fatamassakumun nar. Be ready on the day of judgment for my anger, because you are doing the same thing what they are doing. Again I said, oppressor is not the only one who is committing crime. Oppressor is that person who is supporting that criminal who is committing crime. So if they are committing crime and they are not saying anything toward the Palestinian brothers, then you cannot vote them. If you do vote them, then basically you are going against Quran, you are going against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to understand our deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ.